Welcome into our virtual happy hour presented by Bud Light Seltzer. Julie Donaldson here with you. It is time to start a tab. Well, the team, they have moved away from training camp schedule, so practice today was moved back to the more normal times that they will be experiencing as the season is quickly approaching in just about a week. Time to bring in our Washington football team insiders, Kyle Stackpole and Zach Selby, as they join me for today's show. And well, we are getting closer to Saturday becoming the cut down day. Moving from, well, would have been 90 if it hadn't been for COVID, but there's 80 players on the roster right now. They have one cut down day to get to 53. Kyle, a little bit of unique circumstances this year and trying to get to the 53.
Yeah, for sure. It's especially tough without preseason games, especially for the younger guys. But like you said, instead of 90 in a regular year, you have 80 this year, and then moving down to 53 on Saturday. And there's also 16 practice squad spots now compared to 10 in past years. And there can be 6 veterans that you can put on practice squad. So usually it's after a certain amount of years you can't be on practice squad anymore. But because of COVID restrictions and risks, they're allowing for veterans to also be on the practice squad. So it's definitely different, but we're still going to have 53 by Saturday.
Zach, when it comes to IR, I have a feeling it could be a little bit interesting, especially with this team and the situation that they're sitting in.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit interesting, but there are a couple of differences as opposed to years past. So you can activate any limit, any number of players on the IR now, not just the 3 that have been in years past. And instead of being on the IR for 8 weeks, you can be on the IR for 3 weeks before you're activated. So that means players that have maybe need a little bit more time to adjust to the season, like Alex Smith, Reuben Foster, Bryce Love, all 3 of which have had traumatic injuries in their own way. They'll get a little bit more time to get ready for their season debut, and who knows, they might need it, they might not. We'll see come Saturday for sure.
All right, so this is what everybody is waiting for as we go down to the 53. Which players will be charged with trying to turn this team around? Decisions are being made this week to be able, some very difficult. I think Coach said he had like 6-7 different positions and guys that he was having to decide between. So I'm going to put you through it, and then we'll see how we get when you do get to Saturday the 53. But let's start at quarterback. And Zach, who's making the team for you?
Well, there are some difficult decisions, but this one is not. I'm keeping 3 quarterbacks on the roster. You have Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, and Kyle Allen. I know it's unconventional to keep 3 quarterbacks, but I'm going to do it because this is a very unique situation that Washington has. I mean, you know, Dwayne Haskins yesterday was declared the Week 1 starter by Ron Rivera, and he's done pretty much everything you can ask for to prove that he's a franchise quarterback. Then you have Kyle Allen, who has some experience in this offense, working with Scott Turner and even Ron Rivera in the past. And then you have Alex Smith, he's Alex Smith. He's a multi-time Pro Bowler. He's been to the playoffs multiple times over, and he can help these young quarterbacks learn the game a little more because both of them are still really, really young. So, you know, I don't know if all 3 of them are going to be on the active roster game week each week. That'd be pretty crazy, but they can definitely contribute in their own unique ways.
I know you're raising eyebrows on that by having Alex Smith there. Look, it's been an outstanding story to follow. We shall see what happens on Saturday. How about, Kyle, if we go to wide receiver? You have 3 guys fighting for 2 spots there.
Yeah, so we both think that they're going to keep 6 wide receivers on the roster, and we think that 4 of them are pretty much locked. So you have Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims, Antonio Gandy-Golden, and Dontrell Inman. The question becomes who makes the team out of Cam Sims, Trey Quinn, and Isaiah Wright. I'm going to go with Cam Sims and Trey Quinn. Cam Sims because he's a big body receiver, physical guy that Washington's really lacking with the injury to Kelvin Harmon this offseason. And then Trey Quinn, I think he has a lot of experience playing in the slot, more experience than any other receiver on the roster, actually. And he can also play special teams. He's a punt returner. He can help out kick return. So I'm sorry for Isaiah Wright. I don't think he's going to make it. Zach, I know you have a different opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Isaiah Wright. Just keep it real quick. I'll keep it for 2 reasons. Special teams ability, had 5 special team touchdowns at Temple last year. And on top of that, he's been playing at all sorts of different positions, not including the slot as well. So he has that position versatility that Ron Rivera loves.
All right, we'll see.
Let's go over to running back. I know this is a position group that's really interesting because somebody's going to be left out, and a lot of people have different views on that. Zach, start us off.
Yeah, so, I think it may be a little excessive to keep 5 running backs on the roster, but you know what? I'm going to do it because all 5 of these guys have done some really good things. And I think 3 of these guys are pretty much locked in. You have Adrian Peterson, J.D. McKissick and Antonio Gibson. AP is the veteran, while McKissick and Gibson all offer that Swiss Army knife that you really want for the offense. Now, the two big questions are obviously Bryce Love and Peyton Barber, but I think Peyton Barber has been a really good power back in certain situations, and then Bryce Love still shows that he can be the Heisman finalist that you saw at Stanford. So I think when you have 5 guys like that, buddy, let me tell you, you keep all of them.
All right, well, look, it's going to be interesting to see. I probably might have Love left out on this one, but pretty much whoever you ask has a different opinion. If we move over to the offensive line, Kyle, where would you go and who's in, who's out?
Yeah, so we actually just talked to Coach Rivera, and he said that during this season specifically, with the risk of COVID-19, the one position where you can't afford to have a catastrophe is the offensive line. So whoever's making the team, they're going to have a lot of offensive linemen. I personally think they're going to go with 9 offensive linemen this year. They have the 5 starters with Jerron Christian and Wes Martin on the left side. You have Keith Ismail and Sadiq Charles, 2 rookies. I believe they're going to make it. And then Washington just acquired tackle David Sharp from Las Vegas, and I think he's going to make it as well. So the one spot that I think is more so up for grabs is I think Cornelius Lucas, the tackle that came over from Chicago. Yeah. I think he's going to grab that next spot, mostly because the tackle depth really isn't there, and they need another body there.
And Zach, if we move over to tight end, we've been needing a big body, an easy target. Who gets that number 1 spot?
Well, I think it's going to have to go with Logan Thomas here, but ever since camp began, there's really been 3 guys that have just stood out. It's been Baugh, it's been Logan Thomas, and it's been Jeremy Sprinkle. Now, Baugh and Thomas have been some of Dwayne Haskins' favorite targets throughout camp, and Jeremy Sprinkle gives that run blocking ability that you're always welcome to see, as a running back in the run game. So, I was thinking about keeping 4 guys on here, and in which case you'd have Hale Hentges or Richard Rodgers clearly in play. But I think it's a safe position to go with the 3 guys we've seen the most out of, and that's the guys I mentioned.
And speaking of Logan Thomas, he actually joins the show a little bit later. We'll be cheersing to him and see how he feels taking on that kind of lead spot at tight end. Okay, that wraps up the offense, but we still have to get to defense. So we know what we have started our tab. We're going to see what's on tap when we come back as we continue our 53-man roster predictions.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the couch.
Baseball or football or racquetball, we don't mind, we'll watch any at all.
'Cause it's root for the home team.
No way, we don't really care. Oh, no, I care.
'Cause sports are finally back and there's a Bud Light there.
A moment of joy, a source of inspiration, an act of kindness, an old friend, a new beginning, some welcome relief, or a cause for celebration. What's inside? Possibilities. What we deliver by delivering.
This is the front door.
Here's the living room.
The hallway that takes us to
The kitchen.
The bedroom.
Oh, and of course, where we spend most of our time.
The backyard.
NFL Network has training camp coverage from around the league.
It is never about them. It's about what we do.
And your first look at rookies and stars in their new homes.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Inside Training Camp Live continues tomorrow at 1 on NFL Network.
It is our virtual happy hour presented by Bud Light Seltzer, and we are getting closer to Saturday, which is cut down day. One day where they go from 80 to 53, and those 53 will be charged of turning this team around. I have our Washington football team insiders, Kyle Stackpole and Zach Selby, with me as they are giving their predictions. And Kyle, I'm going to let you lead off at tackle because we are going to the defensive side of the ball as we see what is on tap. Who is staying, and is anybody left out?
In my opinion, this is the easiest group to predict. You have Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Matt Ioannidis, really studs since they come into the league. And then Tim Settle, while he hasn't been a surefire starter, he's really been a solid rotational piece since he entered the NFL in 2018. So I think coming into camp, those are the four guys that separated themselves. I don't think anything has changed, and those are the guys I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's pretty much a given. I'm really excited to see this unit, as I know everybody is, and I expect a lot out of Payne as well, as you do from everyone in this group. How about, Zach, if we go over to defensive end, another part of this that we can't wait to see how this works out and how the rotation ends up.
Well, Kyle said that the defensive tackle is the easiest position. I'm saying the defensive ends are the best position group on this entire team. You have Chase Young, Ryan Kerrigan, and Montez Sweat as your three main defensive ends. And they're all for 3 first-round picks. And then Ryan Kerrigan is a sack and a half away from being the franchise sack leader. I mean, you can't really beat those three. And then you have Brian Anderson on top of that, who is, coming in a little bit late, as a linebacker for most of his career. But he has come on strong, and they really, really like his ability, as a pass rusher. And he's shown that a lot last year. So they're pretty confident in him. I think the big competition that you really have is between James Smith-Williams and Jordan Brilford. I know that Kyle likes James Smith-Williams here, which I do not agree with. I think he's got another year left to be on the practice squad. I think Jordan Brilford has done some really good things as far as, one-on-one pass rush, and his spin move is just dirty. I mean, just amazing. So that's who I got for defensive ends.
Real quick on James Smith-Williams. The new staff drafted him, 1. He can play some defensive tackle, 2. And he's also got special teams ability. So I know Jordan Brilford's a year older. He's definitely flashed more, but give me James Smith-Williams. We'll see what happens on Saturday.
I want you guys to put a little bit of a wager on that one and see what happens when it comes to Sunday and the decision has been made. How about if we go to linebackers? I'm not really sure who's going to be left out of this group.
Yeah, so we actually have the same people making the roster, but one person that we don't is Reuben Foster. He's a first-round pick, and he had a ton of potential, but it still seems like he's working back from that major injury. He's been working with the threes throughout training camp. He hasn't really made a lot of plays. He doesn't look as explosive as maybe some expected him to be. So this is definitely a solid group. A lot of newcomers have stepped up in terms of Khaleke Hudson, Kevin Pierre-Louis. You have Sean Dean Hamilton and Cole Holcomb. I just don't think Reuben Foster fits into that mix right now.
You got a lot of eyebrows raised on that one. I know there's a lot of high hopes for him, so I'm not sure I entirely agree. But then again, I can't sit there and tell you who I think, in my opinion, is going to be left off. That's why I'm not paid to make those decisions. What about at cornerback, Zach?
Yeah, this is another position where we mostly agree on the guys. So we have Ronald Darby and Kendall Fuller. Those are the big free agents they got in March. They're going to be probably the starting guys. I think you have Jimmy Marland, who's the people's corner, as they like to call him. And then you have Fabian Moreau, who did a lot of good things last year as well. Now, Kyle has Colvin making the roster, but I have Greg Stroman. And Greg Stroman, you take what you will out of practice interceptions, but Stroman has made the most of them out of any of the defensive backs so far, and that means something. It shows that he's making his case that he deserves to be on the roster. That's why I'm going with Stroman over Colvin.
And if we get to safety, of course we know Landon Collins is there, but who's going to complement him?
So we have Landon Collins, we have Troy Apke, training camp surprise. We have Sean Davis and DeShazier Everett. I think the fifth one, and Zach agrees with me, is going to be 7th-round pick Cameron Curl. He's stood out throughout training camp. He's made a couple of interceptions, and not only can he play safety, but he also played some corner at Arkansas. So he's someone where I know some people were saying, oh, maybe we should have 6 corners this year versus 5, but I think because Curl can play safety and corner, he's someone that really gives you that versatility, and he's going to make the roster as a rookie.
Well, if we're to believe what these coaches keep saying, that they need versatility, that would be a very good way to back it up and make a case for making the 53. So there's offense and defense. When we come back, we're going to be cheersing Logan Thomas, what he has to say about how he feels he's got the tight end position down. And also we have to still get through special teams.
New home. There's so much space.
We have a guest room now.
But we have ants.
You're slouching again, Ted.
Expired. Expired. Expired.
Thanks, Aunt Bonnie.
It's a lot of house. I hope you can keep it clean.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
Which helps us save a lot of money.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request?
I'll have to check.
Aunt Joni's here.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the couch.
Baseball or football or racquetball, we don't mind, we'll watch any at all.
'Cause it's root for the home team.
No way, we don't really care.
Oh, no, I care.
'Cause sports are finally back and there's a Bud Light there.
Miracles. What we deliver by delivering.
NFL Network has training camp coverage from around the league.
And it's never about them. It's about what we do.
And your first look at rookies and stars in their new homes.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Inside Training Camp Live continues tomorrow at 1 on NFL Network.
Our virtual happy hour presented by Bud Light Seltzer. I'm Julie Donaldson. It is time for Cheers to That. And today, well, we're bringing in tight end Logan Thomas. He went to Virginia Tech, played some tight end and mostly quarterback, but he has since in the NFL, entering his 7th season, gone back to the tight end position. And this team is looking to rely on him to play a big role in this offense. So there's a little bit of chat on how comfortable he feels at the position. Taking some time to join us. It's been fun watching you throughout camp. We keep hearing how you're this big body out there and an easy target for the quarterback. Having played quarterback yourself, transitioning to tight end, what has the relationship been like with Haskins, and how does you, having played quarterback, kind of help you out in that?
The relationship with me and Dwayne have been great. Just being able to get on the same page. I want to be somebody that he can trust. And that's my goal. Just go out there and play the best I can. And but from a quarterback perspective, Dwayne's doing a great job. I see some of the things that he sees, so I think it's doing a good, or making it easier for us to get on the same page.
A lot of people are talking about the growth that he's taken, but you're being new with him this season. What can you say about the way he's kind of leading and commanding the huddle and trying to get everybody's lined up?
Oh, he's doing a great job. He's bringing excitement to the huddle. He's bringing energy, which automatically gives us energy. Anytime you see the guy who's in charge bringing that, it makes it just that much more fun for yourself and more exciting for you. And he's doing a great job, and I can't wait to go to war with him.
You know, this team has struggled in the red zone. I think they're like 27th or bottom of the league, and being able to score when you get down to that area. Throughout training camp, we've been able to see him connect with you quite a few times. Is that something that you feel is going to be an improved area when we do get to the season?
You know what? I hope so. 27th isn't good enough. When you get down the road, you got to score touchdowns. You can't just take field goals. And obviously points are the name of the game. So if you score touchdowns, it makes it that much easier to win. But for me, you know, like I said, if he can trust me to make a play, I hope to be that guy to help make a couple plays. But we got some talent on this offense that can make plays down there in the red. We just got to go do it.
You know, Coach just said you're relatively new to the tight end position. I know you played it before, then switched to quarterback, and then switched back the NFL over to it. But where are you in your comfort level on feeling that you have the ownership of the position?
You know, I think I'm still growing. Obviously, you got to learn every single day. In the game of football, you learn something new every single day. I've made my fair share of mistakes out there, but I do feel like I'm getting better and getting more comfortable with the position. Every snap is a learning curve for me, so it's something new to learn, and I'm going to try and learn it and not make the same mistake twice.
Coach Turner likes to line guys up in unique situations, move you all over the field. Has he been creative with how he's using you as well? Can we expect maybe you in different positions than we would just anticipate?
Oh, who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see till Sundays.
I know he'd be upset if you gave away any secrets anyways, not really trying to give any advantage to the Eagles. This is your, sixth team in 7 years, and they're really relying on you to kind of be that number one tight end coming into this season. Do you feel extra pressure to try and, I don't want to say prove it or back it up, but you kind of get where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I'm with you. I've always put a good amount of pressure on myself to be perfect. And this is just another thing that's piled on top. I want to be the best that I can. Anybody going to be perfect? No, absolutely not. But you do the best you can to be perfect. And for myself, I want to be as good as I can be to help this team win. Whether it's catching passes, being good in the run game, or being good in pass blocking situations. That's what I want to do, and whatever may come of my position and the guys of my likeness.
Let me ask you about that blocking. It's been one of the things this team has kind of missed, having that blocking tight end. I mean, you got to go up against some really big bodies in Kerrigan and Chase and Sweat and Young. How is that part of your game developing, and I guess just the challenge of having to face them in practice?
A great challenge. I mean, it's going to get me ready for Sundays. Those guys are doing a great job, and as much as I hate it sometimes out there at practice, I appreciate it looking back on it because I know I'm not going to get that type of work anywhere else, and so I really do appreciate those guys and how hard they work as well, because it's not like they're just going out there taking it easy on anybody. They're going out there for blood as well.
What do they say to you after you go up against those blocks? I know there's one where Chase is pretty much going to level everybody. Does he help you back up? Does he say, hey, man, dinner's on me?
Oh, man, this is a game of football. It's not a gentleman's game. So if you want a gentleman's game, go watch, play some golf. But, that's not what you want as a competitor. You don't want to be picked up by an opposition. You pick yourself up, dust yourself off, go play, and they're going to do the same when you do it to them.
All right, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to finally seeing the season's right here around the corner and seeing what you bring at that position. Appreciate it, Logan.
No.
Cheers to that with Logan. Appreciate him taking some time, and we certainly hope. He scored a touchdown last season with Detroit against us, so hopefully that is the reverse this season, that he finds the end zone a good bit of time for us. If we're now to continue on with Kyle Stackpole and Zach Selby breaking down the 53-man roster, guys, let's go to the special teams. I don't think anybody's going to argue that Dustin Hopkins, Tressway, Nick Sundberg, they are one of the strongest units on this team and have been for years. Plus, they're just really fun guys to talk with. So if we're going to go to who's going to return punts and kicks, Zach, who would you have taking that?
Well, I think it's been a rotation of guys. They've been trying a lot of different people. Steven Sims has gotten most of the starting reps, I guess you could say. But Isaiah Wright and Trey Quinn have also received a lot of punts as well. As far as kick returns go, it's Steven Sims and Antonio Gibson as guys we've seen some good things from as well. So I foresee Steven Sims to be out there returning punts. He's done some good things, but watch out because, like I said, my boy Isaiah Wright might be making return some kicks or some punts as well. So be on the lookout for that.
I know Sims is going to have a bigger role in the offense as well, so I'll be curious to see how that does return. Who would you have as backup, or do you even agree, Kyle?
I agree for the most part. I think Steven Sims is going to be the kick returner, and I think if Trey Quinn makes it, I think he'll be the punt returner. If Isaiah Wright makes it, he might be the punt returner. So I think that's still up for grabs. I don't think Steven Sims is going to do both. I think he's a more dangerous kick returner, and they might not want to overload him, but we're not sure yet, and without preseason, we haven't even really seen these guys return kicks and punts. So it's going to be interesting to see who's out there against Philadelphia.
All right, Sims did a pretty good job last season, but again, his times and his legs might be used up a little bit more this year compared to last year as well. When we come back, we're going to be closing it out, and there's a few questions. You guys are going to have to explain yourself because you made some cuts that have raised quite a few eyebrows. Stay with us, everybody.
Is the front door.
Here's the living room.
The hallway that takes us to
the kitchen.
The bedroom.
Oh, and of course, where we spend most of our time.
The backyard.
Gene, did you know Geico is now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies?
That's great.
That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? John Stamos to knit you a scarf?
I'll finish, Gene. Enjoy.
Thank you.
I give.
The stitch work is impeccable.
That's just a double fleck pattern with a reverse garter stitch. No big deal.
Is your hair this soft?
Softer.
Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the couch.
Baseball or football or racquetball, we don't mind, we'll watch any at all.
'Cause it's root for the home team.
No way, we don't really care.
Oh, no, I care.
'Cause sports are finally back and there's a Bud Light there.
Training camp is here.
Let's go. Let's roll now.
And nobody has it covered like NFL Network.
You got the keys to the car. Let's go.
Live reports every day.
Let's go, guys. Good tempo. Push it.
With inside access around the league.
I see the cover skills. I need to see the physical. Start here. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
And your first look at rookies and stars in their new homes.
He's getting better and better.
It's time to get back to football. Inside Training Camp Live continues tomorrow at 1 on NFL Network.
It is time to close out with Kyle Stackpole and Zach Selby, but before we do, you both have some explaining to do here. So I want you to explain yourself. Kyle, you have Reuben Foster not making the 53-man roster. Why?
So I think the biggest thing is that Washington, before the season, declined his fifth-year option, and they really don't have a long-term investment to him like they would with a player like Bryce Love, who they drafted last year. I really think that their plan of attack is going to be, if you cut Reuben Foster, you see if he can clear waivers, and if he clears waivers, you bring him back to the practice squad, and then he can practice throughout the season, try to get healthy, try to get more of that explosiveness back. And if he shows that he's back to where he is, or he's close to where he was when before he got hurt, then you can bring him up to the active roster. So it's definitely a little bit of a risk to have him go to waivers, and another team could pick him up, but I think that's the best plan of action for Washington. So,
all right, we shall see. And then Zach, you had Trey Quinn being left out, Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah. You're putting him back into irrelevant land.
No, it has nothing to do with Trey Quinn. The guy's he's a good person. He's a great player. I mean, he's done some good things so far for this team in recent years. But it's more about what I believe that Isaiah Wright can do for this team. You know, one, like I said, he can do a lot in the special teams game, you know, returning punts and returning kicks. He's been all over the field as an outside and as an inside receiver, working with all the quarterbacks, including Dwayne Haskins with the starters. So, you know, again, it's all about what the amount of things that he can do for this team. And I think that Rivera said it best when he said that if you have a lot of things you do, if you can offer that position flex, you have a good shot of making the roster. So I'm putting my faith in my boy Isaiah Wright to see what he can do.
Not being able to have the preseason really limits you in being able to see what a lot of these guys can do on the bubble, what they could do in special teams. And as coach, I liked his being very honest. He said, how do you really know if you're going to be making the right decisions? He said, you really don't. So you just have to trust the coaches and what they're seeing and what they're feeding back to you on how some of these guys will be able to fit in. What are you two going to wager on whose 53-man roster was more accurate than the other?
I don't know. Maybe, I know that everyone likes my baking. I could offer him an individual, personalized batch of baking. I don't know, but if I win, I might have to want something a little bit up to par with my baking. I don't know about you.
I was gonna say like Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or something. So maybe we can work something out where he gives me a couple baked goods and I can give him some lunch or something. But I can't wait to find out on Saturday.
I'll offer you up a couple of Bud Light seltzers. How's that?
That works too.
I like that.
Cheers to that.
Thanks, gentlemen, for joining me today. Again, everybody, Cut Down Day is coming up on Saturday because this season is right around the corner against the Eagles at FedEx Field. Thanks for joining Kyle Stackpole, Zach Selby, and myself, Julie Donaldson, for this virtual happy hour presented by Bud Light Seltzer. We'll see you again tomorrow.